As you know, on Sunday night or Monday morning of every week, we post a new expository semiotics explaining why we would choose which lectionary readings. But in these readings, our dream is, and our desire is, to help you read the signs and fondle the details and spot the seminal metaphors, the condensed signs and the stories that are key for preaching to a digital culture. So strap on your seatbelt and join us as we prospect our passages for today. I'm just back from a trip to Ocean City, New Jersey, where I spoke yesterday at the Ocean City Tabernacle and had a great time. Everything about it was so memorable, and I love the people there. I love the place there. The boardwalk there, but I think the most memorable part of it is I woke up one morning and I was missing part of my front teeth. I don't know what I did that night. I don't know what kind of dream I had and what kind of activity I was doing in my dream, but I'll try not to smile. The dentist is going to try and see me quickly, but this is the story of the summoning and sending out of the 12 disciples. There were 12 disciples Jesus called to help him: Simon, Peter, Andrew, James, his brother John, Philip, Thomas, Matthew, James, the son of Alphaeus, Thaddeus, Simon, Judas, and Bartholomew. Jesus called you too. That's a song I learned very early. I taught the song to all my kids, and I can't name the 12 disciples without singing the song in the back of my head. Some of us can't do the alphabet without hearing the alphabet song. But the amazing thing about this lectionary passage for today, and this is the gospel reading, Matthew 9:35 to 10:8, with the alternative to keep on going all the way to verse 23. The incredible thing about this is that this is a commissioning, if you will, of Jesus's 12, and this is kind of his commissioning sermon. So in some ways, this is their ordination sermon. Now, you don't have, let me just be clear here. I know, you don't have ordinations. In the Bible, there's no ordination, naming. In the scriptures, there are appointments, there are laying out of hands, there are commissionings, but no one was ordained until the late 2nd, early 3rd century at the earliest. And this was in many ways a response to some of the other religions that are going on at the time, especially the mystery religions. But this is, if you want to talk about an ordination sermon, this is it. And this is Jesus's ordination sermon for his disciples. And you might, if you want to think of a title for it, it's ministry, it's your privilege, it's your pain. And it's one of the most unusual ordination sermons, or commencement, commissioning sermons you've ever heard. I've heard an awful lot of ordination commencement sermons, and I mean an awful lot. Awful both in the meanings of a lot of them, too many of them, and awful meaning some of them are really bad. And unfortunately, I preached an awful lot of ordination commencement sermons myself, and I mean an awful lot. When I look back at some of the things that I did, I kind of not sure I'd have the courage or the idiocy to do what I did today. I mean, one time I passed around everybody who was being ordained. I gave them a stirring stick and talked about how there was no healing at the pool of Bethesda until the waters were stirred up and troubled. And so they were to be stirring sticks to stir up the Spirit and to trouble the water so the Spirit could work. I actually had a big, huge rainbow-colored ball of yarn. It was almost between a softball and a basketball, and I threw it out there, but I kept hold of one end of it. I threw it out to one of those being ordained, and I said, now I want you to throw it to somebody that has brought you to this place, one of your colleagues, but I want you, when you throw it to them, I want you to keep hold of your end of it. So we just did that, and then we had this beautiful tapestry of all the colors of all the world, and red and yellow, black and white, and all are precious in His sight. But I forgot one thing. Now that we created this wonderful tapestry, now what do we do? and I failed to think through this whole thing. Okay, now we got this beautiful blanket of color out there. Now what do we do? How do we get rid of it, and how do we let it down without getting it in everybody's hair and on their gowns and everything else? One time I gave everybody a flower, and when they came in, and asked them to give it to someone who had helped them on their journey, and to make an Ebenezer. Another time I did a commencement sermon with my famous Kopi Luwak coffee, the most expensive coffee in the world. It comes from the civet cat in the Indonesian island of Java. And the unique thing about this cat is that, of course, it goes out, it's a nocturnal creature, and it just knows the perfect cherries, the coffee cherries to eat. And in the morning, the natives go out and they look for the poop of the civet cat, and they pick up all their poop, and then they clean the poop up, and those little beans that they have harvested, they're the Juan Valdez of the animal kingdom, they then roast, and that's the most expensive coffee in the world. And so I talked about how God turns trash cans into treasure chests, and the worst in our lives, God can make the best of it. And I did one whole ordination sermon on do you get the joke? And part of the joke is that God would use somebody as unlikely, unworthy, and unthinkable to be a vessel for ordained ministry. And I just said God must love bad jokes, because I'm one of them, and there's a lot of them around, and God uses a lot of us, and so God must be in the bad joke business. A lot of people didn't get that joke, but anyway, all of which is to say, what do you do when you're sending out these ministers, and you're sending out your people into ministry? And Jesus gave what is totally not expected. And here's this passage of scripture from Ecclesiastes 9:11 that is kind of notorious for being not the best halftime pep talk ever. And here it is. The race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor bread to the wise, nor riches to the intelligent, nor favor to the skillful, but time and chance happen to them all. And this is not your normal halftime pep rally. And Jesus gives his apostles here, as he names them and claims them and sets them forth, the most unlikely kind of commissioning. And I want to read it to you first, and we'll just delay a little bit every now and then and stop I'll add a little something to it. But this is starting in verse 35. Now we're in Matthew 9. Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom, curing every disease, every sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion for them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore ask the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest." And we are here today because of this prayer. We are all an answer to this Jesus prayer right here that he gave his disciples to pray, another Lord's Prayer. Then Jesus summoned his 12 disciples and gave them authority over unclean spirits, to cast them out, to cure every disease and every sickness. These are the names of the 12 apostles. And then come their names. Not in the order in which I learned them from the song, but they're here. Jesus sent out with the following instructions. So here is their commissioning. They are being set apart and sent out. We are both set apart and sent out. All of us are ministers. You are ordained in a ministry at your baptism. So ministry is not just happening to certain people. It happens to all of us. Some are called out from ministry, set apart from the set apart, if you will, to administer the ministries of the ministers. But it's administrations of ministers. And that's what really ordination at best should be seen to be. But he gives some instructions. And he tells them to proclaim the good news, and the kingdom of heaven has come near, to cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, cast out demons. You received without payment, give without payment. Take no gold or silver or copper in your belts, no bag for your journey, or 2 tunics or sandals or a staff, for laborers deserve their food. Whatever town or village you enter, find out who in it is worthy and stay there until you leave. Now, this is the old tradition, a couple things. One is some of the richest, wealthiest communities in the early medieval to late medieval period were the monasteries, but the monks would go out with begging bowls. Not because they needed money. They go into the town square. They go out with begging bowls, because that begging bowl was a symbol of who would God bring to me that day so that I could be a witness to them. And so they would come, and the monks would thank them and enter into conversation with them. So the begging bowls were there because they needed money. It was for relationship reasons. Who am I going to be in a relationship with? Who's God going to bring to me today? So I can witness to the gospel. In some way, this is the same thing here. And look for the prophet's chamber. In fact, in the early church, if you were a follower of Jesus, part of your home was expected to be a place for strangers, for visiting preachers, for people that needed a place to live. That was part of what it meant to be a follower of Jesus. And then it goes on. As you enter the house, this is the prophet's chamber, greet it. If the house is worthy, let your peace come upon it. But if it is not worthy, let your peace return to you. In other words, and here it says specifically what that means. But if anyone will not welcome you or listen to your words, shake off the dust from your feet as you leave that house or town. This I call the sacrament of failure. But you got to keep moving. But just, they don't want to receive you. They don't want to welcome you. They don't want to extend hospitality to you. But shake the dust of your feet and keep moving on. I've been right in the middle of sermons sometimes, and I've just started shaking the dust of my feet. Okay, this is more me than the Spirit. I'm sorry. It's time to bring this to a close and for me to move on. Truly, I tell you, it will be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah on the day of judgment than for that town, the town that doesn't receive them. Now, here it comes. Here it comes. See, I'm sending you out like sheep into the midst of wolves, so be wise as serpent, as innocent as doves. Beware of them, for they will hand you over to councils. They will flog you in their synagogues. You'll be dragged before governors and kings because of me, as a testimony to them and the Gentiles. When they hand you over, do not worry about what you are to speak or what defense you are to say, for what you are to say will be given to you at that time. This is the great case for improv preaching, by the way. For it is not you who speak anyway, but the Spirit of your Father speaking through you. Brother will betray brother to death, father of his child. Children will rise against parents, have them put to death, and you will be hated by all because of my name. Welcome to your ministry. Welcome to your ministry. It reminds me of the time the disciples are going, we don't get this, you're leaving us, your departure and return. Explain to us, Jesus, why you're leaving us, and then you promise to come back. And so what does Jesus do? He gives them a theological explanation for the crucifixion and the ascension? No. What he does is he gives a metaphor. He says, a mother in childbirth goes through great travail. There's a lot of pain. And it's the worst pain there is, but you wonder how Jesus could empathize even with women in childbirth. But all the pain is worth that child's arrival. And so here he's explaining to them, I'm calling you to something special, but there's going to be pain. There's going to be suffering. There's going to be death. And I'm not calling you into this easy adventure. It's a risky adventure. It's not a safe adventure. You will be hated because of my name. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. And when they persecute you in one town, flee to the next. For truly I tell you, you will not have gone through all the towns of Israel before the human one comes. Hence, my title for Jesus's commissioning. It's your privilege, but it's your pain. I heard about once a pastor who was just kind of passing through children's Sunday school class, and he saw a little wooden church that was used for offerings for the kids. And he thought it was really cute and wondered who had done it and painted it and made it. And so he went over and picked it up, and one of the little kids looked at him and said, "Be careful, Pastor. You've got our church in your hands." Now, we know the church is really in God's hands, and the world's in God's hands, but it's this kind of warning. Be careful if you're going to be a follower of mine, because I'm going to give you some responsibility, and you're going to have a lot of fun, but you're also going to there's going to be a lot of feedback and pushback, and it's a privilege, but there's going to be pain involved, and there's going to be suffering involved, and this is not the easy way of life. It's the right way of life, but it's not an easy way. And so Jesus sends out these apostolic teams, apostolic bands, these teams of leaders. There was not a single or a solo guy at the top here yet. But he sends them out with this umbrella caveat. I'm giving you a privilege, but I am not sending you out there into comfort zones where you can be safe and secure from all alarm. The Coast Guard has an unofficial motto: we have to go out. We're sent. We have to go out. We don't have to come back. The church, we think that maybe part of being a good church and a good disciple is to play it safe at harbors and to hug harbors. But no, the harbor is where you go to restock and restore and replenish and refresh. But ministries on the high seas, we have to go out. Rescue the perishing, care for the dying. Jesus is calling us out into the storm. And by the way, paradoxically, the safest place for a boat in a storm is not hugging harbors, is on the high seas. So we are called to go out into the world and into some dangerous places. Now, I mention this because we are all today I mean, college life, church life is caught up in we want to be a safe place. Church is our safe place. We even got metaphors for this. The church is a refuge from it's a haven in a heartless world. It's a fortress where we can keep away the dangers and the alarms of the culture. No. Yes, no. And this is why we need to reframe some of these words, like sanctuary. I love the word sanctuary. We just renamed our little retreat center here. I call it an advanced center as a sanctuary seaside because we're right by the seaside. But I reframe sanctuary as not a safe place from risk, but a sanctuary is a safe place to take risks, a safe place to question, a safe place to really be honest and be vulnerable. That's the kind of safe place. It's not a safe place where I don't want to be offended here, and I don't want somebody to say something that's not going to agree with me. No. And that's the danger. I have a friend, Leonard Level, and he reads a lot, and he really keeps PreachTheStory pumped with all sorts of great quotes from all the books that he's reading. And he sent me this. He said, "Could this guy be the new Lee Strobel?" And it's a book called, and I love the title. The first part of the title, "A Holy Haunting." Isn't that great? A holy haunting. But the subtitle is this: "Why Faith Isn't a Leap, but a Series of Staggers from One Safe Place to Another." Okay. And as I looked at, I've ordered the book. I haven't read it yet, but I did look at the table of contents. I think that's what he's trying to do. I think he's using that safe place metaphor as a lure, if you will, to allure his generation into there's more of an understanding as a safe place to question, a safe place to explore, and to open up your doubts, and a safe place to take risks, and not a safe place from risk. At least I'm hoping that's the case. But I can't wait to read it because I love that title. But Jesus didn't ask Paul. Okay, Paul. The safest place to be is at the center of God's will. Hello. It's the only place to be. And it's the place where you'll have the greatest joy and happiness, but it's not the safest place to be. And that's what Jesus is telling his disciples here. I'm going to send you out there into the wolves. You're like sheep going into the wolves. If you want a safe adventure in life, then don't follow me. If you want a safety first, risk-free life, don't follow me. Go someplace else. No, I'm going to lead you into danger zones, dead end zones, strange places. But here's my promise, that as you are in those danger zones and those high risk places, I will never leave you or forsake you. And that's how we can sing songs like Fanny Crosby, "Safe in the Arms of Jesus." Anybody remember that? Safe in the arms of Jesus, safe on his gentle breast, there by his love o'ershadowed, sweetly my soul shall rest. Hark to the voice of angels, borne in a song to me, over the fields of glory, over the jasper sea, safe in the arms of Jesus. Safe on his gentle breast, there by his love o'ershadowed, sweetly my soul shall rest. In the midst of the storm, there is that rock of ages cleft for me. Let me hide myself in thee. There is no hiding place except hiding places in Jesus. But Jesus goes with us into the danger places where we hide in him as we are dealing with the dangers that are out there. Or another wonderful Fanny, I think this is a Fanny Crosby song, "He hideth my soul in the cleft of the rock that shadows a dry, thirsty land." Doesn't mean you're not going to go. We're going into dry, thirsty lands. He hideth my life in the depths of his love, and covers me there with his hand, and covers me there with his hand. Or the wonderful theme song for the True Grit 2 by the Coen Brothers, sung by Iris DeMint in her nasal roots voice, leaning on the everlasting arms. We lean on those everlasting arms so that those arms can launch us into places where people are hurting and dying and wounded. So we need to reframe that word sanctuary. We need to reframe that word safe. Because following Jesus is not one just wave of take care. Yeah, we need to take care of one another. We need to take care of ourselves. But sometimes you're taking too much care if you don't first take risks. And then you take care. I just thinking this week about a couple things. One, everywhere I look out there is Canada. Canadian Christians, who are the indigenous peoples, about 47% of all Canadian indigenous peoples. They call them, some people call them aboriginals. I don't know whether they're not called originals. Where's that aboriginal come from? They're the originals and original inhabitants. But 47% are Christian. And now the Native American, the Aboriginal, original peoples of Canada, the indigenous peoples, who are Christian, are being persecuted, and some of them are being really taunted because they're Christian. But what have you abandoned your native religion? Well, and they're going, well, this is our native religion. We chose this. This is not something imposed on us by colonialism. So you've got even Christians in interesting places being persecuted for. And Jesus said, you go out there, you're going to be persecuted. In my name, you follow me in my name. Even with people who may proclaim my name too. Some of the worst persecution it's called, friendly fire. It comes from your colleagues and your friends, and it hits you in the back. I think this is especially needed. And I don't want to get into this too deeply, but I just want to mention artificial intelligence. I've been exploring using artificial intelligence, both the Google version, Bard, and the Microsoft version, ChatGPT. I've been doing it for a couple months now. And I found that initially ChatGPT was almost anti-Christian. When you ask any Christian question, it's shut down on you. They don't want to talk to you about it at all. So that's too controversial. We don't do it. It's warming up a little bit. Bard is not that. Is not that. It will answer Christian questions about theology, about Bible, stuff like that. ChatGPT wouldn't. Now it's starting to. But it does with an edge and a warning that, this is really a problematic area that maybe you shouldn't go into. I call these two my new wing butts. You have a wingman, a wingwoman who's going to be out there with you and kind of doing your gopher stuff. And so I've been trying to see what are these wing butts like if I were to incorporate them in my life. And first of all, let me just tell you, right now it's a joke. It's a joke. I ask, one example, I ask Bard. I know Tertullian said this, that somewhere in his writings he said that Jesus declared, I am the truth, not I am the custom. Bard, can you tell me where Jesus said that? Or where Tertullian said that? And Bard gets back and says, Tertullian never said that. There are a lot of people who say he said that, but he never did. There's a lot of misinformation, fake information. This is one of them. So I go to ChatGPT. ChatGPT, can you tell me where Tertullian said that Jesus said, "I am the truth, not I am the custom"? And ChatGPT was even more belligerent. Said, "I have consulted all of Tertullian's writings, and it is not in there. It is a fake attribution, and so you should not use it or claim it for Tertullian." I mean, it was really kind of preachy. So that's artificial intelligence. I got real intelligence in my life. I'm going to post this on my Facebook. And I've got, I don't know, maybe 25, 30,000 people that are part of my Facebook community. And that's real intelligence. So I just said, does anybody know where Tertullian said this? And no, Jesus didn't say, Jesus said, "I am the truth, not I am the custom." Within 2 minutes, I had 2 students who immediately said, it's in the Veiling of the Virgins, chapter 1, line 13 or something. And so then what I did, I had to do this in Barbara. I went back to ChatGPT because I didn't like his attitude. And I said, it is in Tertullian. It is in the Veiling of the Virgins, chapter 1, line 13 or whatever. And so ChatGPT said, "Oh, you are right. I was wrong. I apologize for this. I will try not to make this mistake again." The point is, you can't trust artificial intelligence. They're more as likely to get it wrong as to get it right. So right now it's a joke, but it won't be a joke. Let me warn you, that we are entering a world where artificial intelligence and things happen quickly. You know how we didn't know what was around and suddenly in November of 2022, you got these artificial intelligence devices out there. And it's going to get better and better and better. And as it was edgy and kind of preachy to me, the more it gets confident and the more information it collects, it is going to be, how do I want to put this? It's going to take more and more personality. I think it will even maybe take the form of persons as your wingbots. You got wingbot as a robot who's your artificial intelligence, but they will all be connected somehow. It will get more and more confident, more and more, how would I put it, dictatorial, tyrannical. I've never before in my life been able to imagine what the Antichrist was until I've just scenarioed out the future of artificial intelligence, and we are called to go into that world. It's our privilege, but it's our pain to go into that world and lift up the name of Jesus, the name before whom all should bow, not before some AI bot, but before the name of Jesus. So, disciples, it's your joy, it's our happiness, it's our fun, it's our thrill to follow Jesus. But he's going to lead us in some danger zones and directions, even that we may not wish to go. But we follow him into this future.